So hey everyone, it's Trevor Turnbull here from T3 Connect Sports Marketing and SportsNetworker.com, and I'm joined by Skype right now by Dwayne Hankins, the Director of Digital Media, and Pat Donahue, the Digital Media Coordinator. How's it going, guys?
Good, going well.
Good stuff. So hey, you know, I got a lot of stuff I want to talk to you guys about, but I'd be remiss if I didn't go right into this because I know a lot of people want to talk about it. The now infamous tweet, it's about 10 days old now, and I know there's all kinds of updated stats on how many times it's been retweeted. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it was a tweet that went out after the first win by the Kings over the Canucks in the first round of the playoffs that said, "To everyone in Canada outside of BC, you're welcome." So let me ask you this question first. Who made the decision to send that tweet?
That was mine. I feel like we're never gonna escape this, but yeah.
And now,
that's my decision.
And now that we're 10 days later, let's maybe you guys tell us some of these stats. It's really incredible how many times it's been retweeted and the amount of followers that you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously going a little bit back to the tweet itself, a lot of excitement after beating the Canucks in Game 1. I'm sort of watching our feed, and Pat sends out that tweet, and I immediately text him and say, "This is a Hall of Fame tweet." That's all I said. I said, "I don't know what the repercussions are going to be, but let's just keep it up. Let's just keep it going." And then we're watching sort of things unfold, and the retweets are going from 300 to 500 to 700. And then I had a friend of mine who lives in Vancouver message me and say, "Do you realize you've incited all kinds of madness among Canucks fans?" And I said, "I believe you're probably right. We've done that." And then again, just watching everything kind of go through, and then we were not at the game, but our media relations personnel were commenting to us. They were saying, "We're not sure what you guys said on Twitter, but whatever you did, great job, because we have all kinds of people talking about it." And then the next morning, we kind of woke up and saw that it had been retweeted about 10,000 times at that point.
Wow.
And we talked about the tweet, and we were a little bit more concerned about it. Obviously, in the morning, we were thinking, well, how do we want to handle this? We're getting a little bit of heat on it. And we talked with our PR staff, very understanding staff, and they said, you guys are encouraged to do what you want. What should we do here? And I said, let's leave the tweet up. I don't want to get into the thing of, delete it and say we're sorry and never remember it again. We want to leave it up. We thought it was appropriate at the time. We thought it was fine. And so we left it up. We apologized to anyone who was offended by the tweet. And then it kind of went from there. And so 10 days later, it's been retweeted 18,000 times.
Incredible.
10th most retweeted tweet in the history of Twitter. Congratulations on that. And then 27,000 new followers since the tweet. So, I would also say this, in bringing Pat on about a year ago, we've always kind of encouraged that our Twitter be more personal, but we reply to everyone that we can, that we have a bit of an attitude maybe about it, a bit of a personality behind what we say, just so we don't seem so, for the lack of a better word, boring. And I think what the tweet did was able to kind of take that center stage and allow people to see that we're a little bit different than other teams. So.
Yeah, and as far as followers go, obviously it's one measurement on success. It's not the only one, of course, but how have those numbers increased since you guys sent that tweet? What's the stats on that?
We were about 70,000 when the tweet was sent out, and now we're ready to hit 100,000. So,
wow. Yeah. So almost 25,000 then, or over 25,000 then in like 10 days.
Yeah, we're going to owe Pat a little bit of a raise this summer probably.
Well, and you spoke to this already too, but there was a informal or official, I guess you would say, apology that was issued by Dean Lombardi, but not in the way where they were saying, we didn't mean to say it. It was more, if anybody found offense to this, we apologize. But you guys really do kind of have free reign in the support of the organization to speak from that authentic voice, don't you?
Correct. Yeah, and that's what's been great. I mean, ever since I came aboard 2 years ago, I've really wanted us to strive for that, to be that way. And I mean, it is going to be harder for teams to do that. I don't think the New York Yankees, who have built their organization on, all kinds of different objectives than the Kings where we are, can do what we're doing. but because of the market we're in, the entertainment industry, our team certainly gets it. Our fans love it, and they get it, and we sort of just done it that way. And again, just to stress this on the tweet, I think there have been teams that have sent tweets, unauthorized tweets, whatever that means, and then went back and deleted them later. And that was what was so important about not deleting this, because it wasn't like Pat meant to send it from his personal account and accidentally sent it to the Kings account. It was something we had said and wanted to say. And the other thing I'd say about that too is, game one happened, and then game two we had another one, and then people kind of kept looking for this closing tweet every game, and it's just not something we ever intended, and it's not something that we wanted to do, and we kind of closed the book on that after game two. Again, we're still going to do what we do and interact with fans and have fun with it, but that's where we leave it.
And there's no doubt that you guys have generated new fans that might not have even been Kings fans or hockey fans, for that matter, previous to this, because of that tweet and because of that expectation that you guys have set. Pat, let me ask you this: what is your response to some of the replies that you received on Twitter, especially from Canucks fans? It's a very, very social media savvy city here. There were some comments made. What was it? Inappropriate, or what was the word again?
Or classless.
Classless, right? So there's people saying that your tweet was classless. What's your response to that? I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how, with the Blues coming up, like, it's nowhere near the kind of anger that people get. Like, we always make fun of people that say stuff, and the Blues fans are like, oh, okay, good, you guys, see you on Saturday. But the Canucks fans are like, where do you live? We're gonna come kill you. Like, wait till I come to LA, or, stuff like that. But, I mean, the whole reasoning behind it was that whole game one, like, I couldn't keep up with how many tweets we were getting that said, I'm a diehard Canucks fan, or a diehard Leafs fan, I'm a diehard Oilers fan, I'm a diehard Flames fan, but we love the Kings. Kings are Canada's team and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm just going to play off this and see what happens. And then, it kind of went from there. But as soon as, like, the media started asking players about it, and Dean, like, that's when it's like, no. This isn't, like, an official press release or something like that. Like this is just, it's Twitter. It's But yeah, I mean, the people that got mad about it, I mean, that's fine. Like, you can get mad about it if they want, but it was just all in good fun. Like, we just try to talk to people and just, I don't know, we're not comedians or actors or what people think we are, but it was just, we just have fun on it.
Yeah. So there goes our Canadian reputation of being overly nice, right?
Yeah, I know.
Just totally ruined that.
When you bring hockey into it, it's different. You guys get really angry.
That's true. That's true. People are definitely passionate about hockey up here. And you guys have kept going and stayed true to, your initiative and the approach that you've taken with Twitter. You sent out a tweet today that says, "Hey, sad NHL fan, did your team get bounced from the playoffs? Looking for a new crew to cheer on. Try the LA Kings today." How's the response been to that one so far?
I think at lunch it had like 600 retweets or something like that.
Wow.
Pretty significant. And like tons of Boston fans and tons of... Boston was like the number one that I saw. Like everyone like, oh, we love the Kings. Like, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's people just kind of gravitate. Like when your team gets knocked out, you got to root for someone. So I think we're trying to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And it is the tongue-in-cheek thing of, you get both sides of it. And I think what's interesting is these tweets have been authored by what we hear from fans. As Pat said, the first tweet, the BC tweet, came from the fact that all these other fans from Canada were telling us that we were Canada's team. Well, that was pretty easy to write that after seeing all that. And then we started seeing at the end of the series, okay, well, my Blackhawks are out, I'm going to root for the Kings. My Bruins are out, I'm going to root for the Kings. And we said, well, this could be fun. Let's post a tweet about this. And of course, again, I think it's because all these people are saying these things and we're just sort of acknowledging them that they kind of explode the way that they do.
Yeah. Now, of course, we were chatting about this right before we got on the call here, but recently the Florida Panthers GM or president, I can't remember who it was engaging in conversations on Twitter with some New Jersey Devils fans leading up to Game 7. And there was some, some very kind of openly derogatory comments and you know, speaking out to some fans and saying, like, you only have 70 followers, you're not important. I see what you guys are doing is completely different than that, but what do you think as far as, you know, being able to have a real, genuine conversation online, but still being respectful and knowing that you're, you know, representing the organization too? What's your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I would say it's interesting. People get their question answered or their tweet retweeted, or we acknowledge them in some way, and they feel like that, you know, the Kings have listened to them, and that's something, again, that's where all of this started, was let's make sure we respond to everyone that we possibly can. I mean, there are certain things we can't discuss. We can't discuss player injuries, especially concussions, because we don't know timelines. We can't discuss trades, good or bad. We can't discuss things about players. But if people have questions about something as easy as tickets, where do I get tickets, how do I get to the arena, if they certainly want to engage with our brand in another way, we're going to kind of talk about that with them. Now, there is a fine line. We've also sort of mentioned to people that have had you know, 5 or fewer followers, hey, how did you get so many followers, you know, or something like that. But it's sort of tongue in cheek. It's just, you know, I think it's different for us because with us, there's no face behind it. It's the LA Kings organization, and they have this sass and this personality. And with you know, I'm not going to speak for what the Panthers did, but obviously it's different when you're representing the organization as sort of a person. You know, it's just a different take, I would say.
The other thing is we rarely, I don't think ever would say something like that to like a person that has a real account. It's usually people have started making Twitter accounts to talk to us,
right?
To talk back to us. So that's when it's like, oh, how'd you get that egg photo? Like, where'd you get that? Or, how do you have 0 followers? Like, something like that. Like this, you know, we don't. We'll kind of like poke and jab other fans, but not like I don't know. He, you know, whatever. What we read, we joke about things. Like he didn't seem like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you saw his awkward apology video today that Puck Daddy had up, but you should definitely watch it because it's very. He flew that girl down to the game, and they have a very awkward meeting, if you will.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I'll definitely look for it, and I'll post it with this article as well so people can check it out. We spoke about this about a week ago, too, when we first tried to do this interview, but we were talking about strategy and the market that you guys are in, too. Obviously, you're in a huge market, and you have some heavy competition in the sports industry with the Lakers, and, you know, even the Clippers now are making a lot of buzz with their team. The Dodgers, of course. Has your guys' approach to social media been influenced by the fact that, you know, maybe in a market that is so large, you guys are still kind of the smaller team, I guess you would say, on the totem pole as it relates to major sports in that area? Has that affected your strategy?
I would say that we are, you know, you could argue that we're the 5th, if not lower, in terms of position, because there's the Lakers, Clippers, Dodgers, Angels. USC football could certainly be ahead of us, I wouldn't argue. I mean, we're a small market team in a large market, and you know, the inefficiency for us is that we can be cool on social media, or we can do things on social media that, again, maybe these other teams can't get away with, or don't necessarily have the resources or expertise to do. And if we can do that, you know, that's important. And I think there's a demographic on Twitter of people that certainly understand what we're trying to do, and they think it's funny, and they get it. And they're people that are either fans already or are becoming fans strictly because of Twitter. I'm not saying we're selling jerseys on our Twitter account, but I'm saying that they have, maybe the only thing they know about our brand is our Twitter account. And if that's enough to get them to come to a game once, it's something that could happen. I mean, that to us is important. So,
yeah. Well, and you're kind of speaking to the idea of the one thing that everybody all wants to know, you know, how do you monetize social media, right? And the difficulty in actually measuring the value of these new 25,000 plus followers that you got, and how many of them will actually become, you know, full-time fans and buy jerseys and show up to games and buy season tickets and stuff. And it's obviously a difficult thing, but there's one thing that I do notice on your Twitter account. You guys have some branding, some sponsorship on there. And maybe you can speak to that. I know it's with a partner that you guys work with. Maybe you can tell us how that all works and how sponsorship is integrated into your social media strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's social media, digital, and mobile, obviously. And for us, our sponsor for the first round was Men in Black 3, the movie that's coming out next month. And our way to integrate them through digital was we placed them on our Twitter background, they were on our website background, and they've kind of been placed throughout the site. And I think for us it's just a matter of we build out sort of a rate card, a digital rate card, probably no different than a lot of other teams, and then we base that on impressions and a cost per impression for how much impact they want their brand to have on a Twitter page or Facebook page or a home page like that. I think it's hard, the ROI, the sponsorship stuff, that can get tricky. I still think teams are trying to figure out what to do there, incorporate sponsors within tweets or within posts. I mean, there's been the whole gamut of things that have been tried. For us, we'll try anything that doesn't sacrifice what we're trying to do in social, because you can't fool these people. While they're very smart, especially on social media, they get it, they understand that they're getting a robotic sort of post, or when they're getting genuinely talked to. So you can't fool them.
Yeah, and I think once you guys establish the fact that there's a real person behind your Twitter account, if you were to tweet out that, hey, anybody want to check out this movie, you might get called out on it, right? It might not seem authentic. Now, is there any other teams or brands out there that you guys follow that, you look at them as they're doing some great things, or are you really trying to set the bar or raise that bar for all other teams in sports? What approach do you guys take on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely aren't any that I would even recognize that talk like we kind of do. I mean, it's interesting, like if you read what we write on Twitter, it's just kind of like how we talk to each other when we go to lunch or something. Like it's not very formal. But, most teams it's either like an RSS feed or it's goal, penalty, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So no, I don't follow too many sports other than hockey, but I haven't seen anyone that it kind of is as personal as we try to be.
I would say, there are brands, so Old Spice is a non-sports brand that has certainly killed it in social. They have a snarky kind of funny side to them in the way they do things, which is great. I think they understand it obviously more than most. And I also think, just from our NHL side, the Canucks, strangely enough, because we just played them, have a great digital strategy. Kevin King does a great job. They're the leaders in NHL in this space, and we certainly look at everything that they're doing too. So,
yeah, and that actually leads me to my last question here too. Is there is other teams that do a great job, and the Canucks are definitely one of them. But they definitely do take a different approach. They're kind of the big show in Vancouver, and you don't see them being as speaking from a single authentic voice. You do see some engagement with fans, but not in the same way that you guys are doing it. What have you guys seen from the St. Louis Blues? You got your second round matchup here now, and obviously every team now has a social media staff. Are they engaging with you in the same way that and even the fan base, are they engaging with you in the same way that the Canucks fan base did?
It's still early. Obviously we have our first game tomorrow, and I think we'll find out then what we're dealing with. I would say the Canucks fans are obviously super passionate about hockey, and no knock on this market, but they will take a lot to kind of match up to the response we got from Vancouver. I mean, we are seeing it a little bit with our, we have an NHL 13 cover vote, and our player Andrei Kopitar is up for the cover, and it so happens that he's up against David Perron of the Blues for this round, and so we started to sort of tweet out facts about Kopitar compared to Perron in terms of their statistics and who's better, to try to drum up some support for Kopitar, and we're certainly hearing it from Blues fans a little bit so far, so we'll see what happens as the series progresses.
Well, I think I saw one of those tweets today. Didn't one of them say something to the effect that Kopitar is 4 inches taller than David Perron, and therefore you should get his vote?
As long as it's a fact.
It's 3 inches taller, and yes, it is a fact, and yes, it's true. And that should be a reason to vote for him, should it not?
As long as it's a fact, then that's all we're going with.
Absolutely. So, hey, guys, again, I really appreciate you doing this. Any closing words, anything that we can expect from you here coming up?
No, just keep watching.
Yeah, who knows what will happen in this round.
That's the best part about it. It's all spontaneous and, real. So, really love what you guys are doing. Again, thanks very much.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.